These are not mere fantasies or the dreams of a fanciful storyteller, they represent a profound new possibility that is dawning on the horizon of human understanding. For countless centuries, our connection to history has been a story told through fragments and whispers. We have pieced together our understanding of entire epics from a broken piece of pottery, a faded manuscript discovered in a forgotten archive, or the weathered stones of a crumbling wall. Each artifact is a precious yet incomplete clue. We are left to guess, to imagine, to speculate. We act as detectives of time, attempting to fill in the vast, silent gaps of what has been irrevocably lost to the relentless march of ages. The grand narrative of our shared human story is a beautiful but profoundly incomplete tapestry, with countless threads missing, leaving us to wonder about the worlds and lives that have vanished without a trace, their stories seemingly gone forever. This traditional approach to history, while noble and essential, has always been defined by its limits. The past speaks to us, but often in a language we can barely comprehend, through symbols we struggle to interpret, and through absences that are as telling as the evidence we possess. Imagine an ancient library, its scrolls turned to dust, its knowledge lost to fire and decay. We hold only a few surviving pages, and from these we must reconstruct an entire world of thought, belief, and daily life. This has been the fundamental challenge for every historian, archaeologist, and scholar who has ever sought to understand what came before. The silence of the past has been its most dominant feature, a great void we have populated with our most educated and thoughtful estimations. But what if that fundamental reality is about to change forever? We are standing at a remarkable inflection point in human history, a moment where the relentless advance of technology is offering us a new way to engage with what has been lost. Artificial intelligence is not just another tool, it is giving us a new kind of lens through which to view the ancient world. This is a lens that can perceive patterns hidden deep within the earth from the vantage point of space, a lens that can digitally reconstruct shattered artifacts from just a handful of broken shards, and a lens that can even give voice to words and languages that have been silent for millennia, resurrecting them from the silent page. This is not a distant dream or the plot of a science fiction novel. This is the new, thrilling frontier of discovery.
We could hear the murmur of the marketplace, see the vibrant colors of ceremonial murals, and feel the life of a civilization that has long since fallen silent.
What if we could transcend the limitations of text and stone and walk the bustling streets of a Mayan city, one that has been swallowed by a dense jungle canopy for 1,000 years?
Picture the grit and determination in my tone, the weight of command carried in every syllable, not as a historian's interpretation, but as a direct transmission from the front lines of history.
What if we could truly hear the past? Imagine listening to the authentic voice of a forgotten Roman general, his words echoing across 2 millennia as he reads his own battlefield dispatches. Welcome to Chronicles of the Unseen. My name is Sam, and I am a creative technologist, someone who has spent a career at the intersection of storytelling and technological innovation. It is a space where art and data converge, where the narratives of the past can be illuminated by the tools of the future. The purpose of this channel is to embark on a new kind of historical exploration, one that moves beyond simply reporting on what is already known. We are not here to just recount the accepted narratives or to present the familiar relics that you might see behind glass in a museum. Our ambition is far greater, and it is an ambition powered by the incredible potential of artificial intelligence. We are here to build a digital time machine. This is not a time machine in the traditional sense, made of gears and flashing lights, but something far more powerful. It is a process, a methodology, a new way of seeing. We will combine the unwavering rigor of academic historical inquiry with the unprecedented analytical and creative power of artificial intelligence. This synthesis is the key to unlocking stories that were once thought to be lost forever, stories hidden in plain sight or buried so deep that they were considered irretrievable. Our goal is to find these hidden narratives, to piece them together from disparate and complex datasets, and to tell them in a way that is both compelling and deeply respectful of the truth. We want to make the unseen seen, and the unheard heard. This journey is, by its very nature, an expedition into the unknown. We do not always know what we will find when we point our new technological lenses at the vast, unexplored territories of the past. There will be challenges, ethical considerations, and moments of profound discovery that could reshape our understanding of a particular moment in time. Like any great exploration, it requires courage, curiosity, and a willingness to venture beyond the established maps. We will be navigating a landscape where the data points are our stars, and algorithms are our compasses, seeking out the lost continents of human experience. This is a voyage into the heart of history's greatest mysteries, and this is not an expedition we intend to take alone. The very spirit of this endeavor is one of shared discovery and collective curiosity. We believe that the past belongs to everyone, and the tools to uncover it should be understood by all. Therefore, we are extending a heartfelt invitation for you to join us on this remarkable journey. Your curiosity, your questions, and your perspectives will be an invaluable part of this process. We want you to be our fellow explorers, our collaborators, and our audience as we embark on this quest to illuminate the chronicles of the unseen. The ship is ready to set sail, and we want you to be on board with us as we push off from the shore. Hello, and a very warm welcome to the very first episode of Chronicles of the Unseen. I'm your host, Sam, and I am absolutely thrilled to be kicking off this adventure with you today. To help us set the stage and delve into the core ideas behind this project, I am joined by my esteemed colleague, Dr. Rivera. It is a genuine pleasure to have you here with us as we take our first steps. This has been a project born from a great deal of passion and discussion, and finally bringing it to life feels like a significant moment, not just for us, but hopefully for the way we all think about our connection to the past.
It's great to be here. This is an exciting project, and the potential it holds is truly immense. We felt it was absolutely essential to kick things off by talking about the fundamental why behind this channel. It's a question that deserves a thorough answer.
Most people are now acutely aware that generative artificial intelligence represents a massive technological turning point, a paradigm shift that many are comparing to the invention of the internet itself. We see its impact unfolding daily, as it transforms entire industries from medicine to finance to entertainment. But there is a quieter, yet equally profound revolution happening that many people don't see, one that is taking place in one of the oldest fields of human study history.
That is precisely right. For the dedicated historians, archaeologists, and classicists who work tirelessly to uncover and interpret our past, artificial intelligence is no longer some far-off, abstract concept discussed in academic papers. It has become a real, tangible tool that is being used right now to completely reshape research methodologies that have been in place for generations. We are witnessing a monumental shift away from the often painstaking, time-consuming manual work of the past, like sifting through soil by hand or manually transcribing ancient texts, towards the ability to process massive, complex data sets that were previously unimaginable in their scale and scope. This is a new dawn for historical discovery.
And that is exactly where Chronicles of the Unseen finds its purpose and its mission. We want to explore this new and exciting frontier, but not merely as passive observers or reporters summarizing the findings of others. We want to be active participants in this revolution. We see ourselves as a new breed of digital storytellers, using this powerful technology as our primary tool to go on our own expeditions. Our goal is to use AI to find, analyze, and most importantly, visualize the incredible stories that lie hidden within the data. We are forging a new path, one that seeks to transform raw information into resonant human experience, making history more accessible and immersive than ever before.
Therefore, Chronicles of the Unseen is more than just a title. It is a statement of intent. We are committing to a journey of discovery, one where we get our hands dirty, digitally speaking. We will be the ones sifting through the terabytes of LiDAR data, guiding the AI as it reassembles shattered pottery, and fine-tuning the algorithms that give voice to forgotten words. We believe this active, immersive approach is the most honest and exciting way to explore the intersection of history and technology. It's about rolling up our sleeves and building the digital time machine piece by piece, and then inviting you to step inside with us for the journey.
This active participation also means we are building a unique skill set, one that combines the meticulous research of a historian with the creative vision of a documentarian and the technical proficiency of a data scientist. It is a hybrid role, a sort of digital archaeologist for the 21st century. We are learning to speak the language of both ancient inscriptions and machine learning algorithms. This dual fluency is what will enable us to forge a new path, to ask different kinds of questions, and to seek answers in places that were previously inaccessible. The stories we aim to tell are the direct result of this synthesis, a product of our own digital expeditions into the vast archives of the past.
Our approach is rooted in the belief that the most profound understanding comes from doing. By actively engaging with these AI technologies, we are not just observers of this historical revolution, we are participants in it. This hands-on methodology allows us to learn the nuances, the limitations, and the true potential of each tool in a way that theoretical discussion never could. It forces us to confront the practical challenges of turning raw data into a compelling visual story, a process that is as much an art as it is a science. This active role ensures that our storytelling is grounded in authentic experience, born from the digital trenches of this new frontier of historical inquiry, rather than from a detached academic perspective.
It's a crucial distinction to make right from the outset, one that truly gets to the heart of what we are trying to achieve with this channel. Thinking about this new technological wave in the context of history and storytelling, it is very much the difference between simply reading a dry technical report about a new type of camera and actually picking up that camera to go out and make a film. One activity is passive, an act of intellectual consumption, while the other is active, an act of creation and exploration. This channel is fundamentally about making the film. We are not content to just describe the tools. We are committed to using them to craft new narratives and shed light on forgotten corners of the human story.
This is the gap that Chronicles of the Unseen is designed to fill. We are stepping directly into that space, acting as a conduit between the analytical power of AI and the creative art of storytelling. We will take the outputs from the data scientist's lab, the identified archaeological sites, the reassembled artifacts, the transcribed texts, and treat them as the foundational elements for our documentaries. We see the data not as the endpoint of the research, but as the starting point of the story. Our mission is to translate the language of algorithms into the language of human experience, creating a seamless flow from raw information to immersive, emotionally resonant history.
Historically, these two worlds have operated in relative isolation from one another. The technological breakthroughs happening in computer science labs might eventually trickle down into the tools used by filmmakers, but often with a significant delay and a lack of direct collaboration. This creates a missed opportunity, a disconnect where the full narrative potential of a new technology is not immediately realized or explored by the storytellers who could best utilize it. The power of the engine remains locked in the lab, while the storyteller is left to work with older, less capable tools, unaware of the new possibilities that are just over the horizon.
On the other side of this divide, you have the world of documentary filmmaking and historical storytelling. This world is driven by narrative, emotion, and the profound human need to connect with the lives and experiences of those who came before us. A documentarian's primary goal is to translate historical facts and artifacts into a story that resonates, that teaches, and that inspires a sense of wonder and empathy. They are the artists who take the raw materials of the past and weave them into a tapestry that we can all understand and feel. Their tools are cameras, editing software, and a deep understanding of how to construct a compelling and truthful narrative for a broad audience.
On one side, you have brilliant minds developing these incredible AI models, pushing the boundaries of what is computationally possible. Their work is often published in dense academic papers, filled with complex jargon and statistical analysis that can be impenetrable to the non-expert. Their focus is rightly on the technical efficacy of the tool itself. They are building the engine, proving that it can run faster and more efficiently than any engine that has come before it, which is an absolutely essential part of this entire process.
Precisely. We are consciously positioning ourselves to bridge the gap that often exists between the data scientist's laboratory and the documentarian's lens.
We believe that history is a shared inheritance, and the more people who are empowered to explore it, the better. Our channel aims to be both an inspiration and a practical guide, demonstrating what is possible when curiosity is combined with these accessible new technologies. We are moving from an era where history was delivered by a select few to an era where it can be discovered and told by many, and that is perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of this entire movement.
The tools of discovery are being placed into the hands of a much wider and more diverse group of people, which will inevitably lead to a richer, more varied, and more representative understanding of our collective past. This democratization is a core part of our why. By showcasing these tools and methodologies, we hope to inspire others to begin their own digital expeditions.
This shift empowers a new generation of historians and storytellers. It means that a passionate researcher in South America can search for lost cities in the Amazon without waiting for a multi-million-dollar grant. It means a local history enthusiast in a small English village can use AI to transcribe centuries-old parish records in a matter of days, not years, uncovering the social networks of their own ancestors.
For example, satellite and LiDAR data, once the preserve of government agencies, is becoming increasingly accessible. An individual can now download this data and use an AI model to scan vast swathes of land for archaeological signatures from their own home office, a task that previously would have required expensive and logistically complex aerial survey campaigns.
Now, artificial intelligence is radically changing that equation. An independent creator or a small team, armed with a powerful computer and access to publicly available datasets, can now perform analyses that would have been impossible for even the most well-funded institution just a generation ago.
For centuries, the ability to conduct meaningful historical or archaeological expeditions was the exclusive domain of large institutions, universities, museums, and national research foundations. It required immense funding to mount expeditions, to secure access to archives, and to employ teams of specialists for years, sometimes decades, of painstaking work. The barriers to entry were incredibly high, limiting the number of people who could actively participate in the process of uncovering the past.
This new dawn for history isn't just about creating more spectacular documentaries or accelerating academic research. It carries a much more profound implication. What we are witnessing is the democratization of discovery itself. The rest of this episode will be a deep dive into our digital toolkit, showing you the specific AI technologies we use to find, restore, and visualize the past. We are embarking on a mission to not only uncover the chronicles of the unseen, but to learn how to speak their language, and in doing so, to bring their world and their stories back to life for all of us.
So today, as we launch this channel, we want to show you exactly how we plan to do that. We want to take you on a journey from the raw data to the finished story, to demonstrate how these tools work in practice, not just in theory.
Visualizing a Roman villa in 3 dimensions, walking through its virtual halls, and hearing a synthesized voice read a letter from its inhabitant creates a form of emotional and intellectual connection that a textbook description alone can struggle to achieve. It allows us to feel history, not just to read about it, which can spark a far deeper and more lasting curiosity.
This new language is fundamentally multi-sensory and immersive. It moves beyond the written word, which has been the primary medium for historical communication for centuries. It adds layers of sight, sound, and spatial understanding that can make the past feel tangible and present.
When we use AI to reconstruct the face of a person from an ancient skull, we are not just creating an image, we are bridging a gap of thousands of years, allowing us to look upon the face of an ancestor. When we use it to generate the soundscape of a forgotten city, we are translating archaeological floor plans and artifact distributions into an auditory experience that feels alive and immediate.
Generative AI, when used thoughtfully and ethically, gives us a way to widen that aperture. It allows us to translate the cold, hard data of archaeology and archival research into the warm, vibrant language of human experience.
For so long, our dialogue with history has been constrained by the nature of the evidence that has survived. A broken pot could tell us about trade routes and artistic styles, but it could not tell us about the person who made it or the conversations that happened around it. A legal document could tell us about laws and property, but it remained silent on the daily hopes and fears of the people who lived under those laws. We were interpreting a silent world through a very narrow aperture.
Ultimately, what this all comes down to is the creation of a new language for communicating with the past and for allowing the past to communicate with us. Exactly. Now, imagine trying to manually scan thousands of square miles of this intricate 3-dimensional data with the naked eye. It would take a lifetime. This is where the AI becomes our indispensable partner. We can train a neural network to look for the specific telltale patterns that suggest human activity. It can scan these massive LiDAR maps for subtle, non-natural changes in the soil elevation or faint, barely visible geometric outlines that whisper of buried Roman walls, roads, or foundations. This is precisely how researchers in recent years have uncovered hundreds of previously unknown major sites, from sprawling Mayan cities in the jungles of Mexico to ancient burial mounds hidden in plain sight across Europe. The AI finds the needle in a continent-sized haystack for us.
And for anyone in our audience who might be unfamiliar with that term, LiDAR is a revolutionary technology. You can think of it as being similar to radar, but instead of using radio waves, it uses millions of laser pulses. These lasers scan the ground from a plane or a drone, measuring the time it takes for the light to bounce back. This process creates incredibly precise three-dimensional maps of the ground's surface or topography. Crucially, it has the remarkable ability to digitally see through dense forest canopies and vegetation, effectively stripping away the modern foliage to reveal the naked earth beneath, with all its hidden lumps and bumps from centuries past.
It's a perfect example, and it highlights the first and most crucial phase of any archaeological project discovery. For this, our first tool takes us high above the ground, looking to the sky. For decades, archaeologists have relied on traditional aerial photography to spot clues on the surface, like crop marks or soil discolorations that hint at buried features. But artificial intelligence elevates this principle to an entirely new level of power and scale. The process begins by feeding AI models vast amounts of high-resolution satellite imagery, or even better, LiDAR data, which covers enormous geographical areas with incredible detail. This is the modern-day equivalent of unrolling a map the size of a country.
So, let's open up the toolkit. How does this all actually work in a practical sense? I know it can sound like pure science fiction when you talk about discovering lost cities from a computer, but the tools are very real and are being deployed in the field right now. To make this tangible, let's walk through a hypothetical mission together. Imagine our goal is to search for a lost series of Roman villas that historical texts suggest existed in a remote, now overgrown part of Britain. This is a classic archaeological challenge, a perfect test case for our digital expedition. Where do we even begin our search in such a vast landscape?
The result is nothing short of magical. We are left with a complete high-fidelity three-dimensional model of the original artifact, which we can then rotate, examine, and study from any angle on a computer screen. This is digital restoration on an entirely new level. It allows us to see the object as it was meant to be seen, revealing its original form, size, and function. This process not only saves an immense amount of time and resources, but can also solve puzzles that were previously considered unsolvable, connecting fragments that have no adjoining edges, but whose curvature proves they belong to the same vessel. We can turn a box of broken fragments into a complete three-dimensional artifact before lunchtime.
This digital collection of fragments then becomes the raw material for the next tool in our chain. We feed these images into sophisticated AI-powered three-dimensional modeling software. There are several amazing tools available that are designed for this kind of work, like Meshi or Hyper 3D, which can analyze the geometric properties of each digital shard. The AI examines the curvature of the edges, the patterns in the clay, and the thickness of the fragment, and then it begins to search for potential matches among the hundreds or thousands of other pieces. It can test millions of combinations in a fraction of the time it would take a human conservator, digitally reassembling the original pot in a matter of hours, not years.
This is a classic archaeological puzzle, and traditionally, it would be the start of a multi-year project for a team of specialists. It involves painstaking manual sorting, matching edges, and a huge amount of trial and error. The process is slow, delicate, and often incomplete. Now, however, we can deploy a technique called photogrammetry, which we combine with AI-driven three-dimensional modeling. The process involves taking dozens, sometimes hundreds, of high-resolution photographs of each individual shard from every possible angle. These images capture the precise shape, curvature, thickness, and texture of every fragment, creating a comprehensive digital library of all the available pieces of the puzzle for the AI to analyze.
Okay, that is an incredible first step. The AI has scanned the heavens, peered through the trees, and given us a specific target on the map. We've found the likely location of our lost Roman villa. The next stage would traditionally involve a physical excavation, a slow and careful process. But what about understanding the people who lived there? This is where our toolkit helps us move from the macro, bird's-eye view to the micro, human-level detail. Let's say a careful excavation at the site uncovers not a complete museum-ready vase, but a frustratingly common find, a large pile of broken pottery shards, seemingly impossible to piece back together by hand.
Exactly. It effectively turns entire archives of old, inaccessible documents into searchable digital data. A researcher can now type a keyword, like the name of our villa's owner, for instance, and search through thousands of newly transcribed documents in seconds to find any mention of him. This opens up entirely new avenues for research, allowing historians to analyze vast collections of letters, legal records, or diaries to uncover social networks, track economic trends, or trace the spread of ideas. It is transforming the very nature of archival work, making it possible to ask bigger questions across much larger bodies of evidence than ever before. The silent ink on the page is finally beginning to speak at scale.
How does it manage to read scripts that are so difficult even for trained human eyes to make out? The AI models are trained on thousands of examples of a specific script, say, 1st century Roman cursive. It learns to recognize the variations in each character, the way letters connect, and the common abbreviations used by scribes of that era. Once trained, it can look at a new, unread document and make a highly accurate prediction of what the text says. It can read through faded ink, damage to the page, and idiosyncratic handwriting, turning an almost illegible image of a document into a clean, searchable digital text file.
And this is where the final piece of our archaeological toolkit comes into play, one that deals with the challenge of deciphering ancient writing. This technology is broadly known as handwritten text recognition, or HTR. For centuries, the task of transcribing old documents has fallen to paleographers, specialists with years of training who can meticulously read and interpret archaic handwriting styles letter by letter. It's an incredibly skilled but also exceptionally slow process. AI-driven HTR systems, such as the widely used platform Transcribers, are now being trained on vast datasets of historical documents to automate this work, revolutionizing the field of archival research.
This is a remarkable leap forward. So, in our hypothetical mission, we have gone from a faint outline on a map to a fully reconstructed three-dimensional model of a pot that was used in our Roman villa 2,000 years ago. But we can go deeper still. What if that reassembled pot has a faint, partially worn inscription on its side? Or what if, in another part of the excavation, we find fragments of old letters or documents, perhaps on papyrus or vellum, with faded ink and in a difficult-to-read script? This is often the most direct, but also the most challenging way to connect with the people of the past, through their own written words. Suddenly the silent libraries of Mesopotamia are opening up. Letters, legal disputes, poetry, voices from 4,000 years ago, now accessible. The code of the ancients is finally being cracked by the code of the modern world.
This frees scholars to focus on interpretation, not just transcription.
Now, neural machine translation models trained on bilingual texts can rapidly draft translations from cuneiform to English.
For decades, thousands of clay tablets sat untranslated, bottlenecked by the scarcity of specialists.
AI is revolutionizing the translation of ancient languages like Akkadian cuneiform, once decipherable by only a handful of experts. This is the integrated power of the AI archaeologist toolkit, layer by layer, from map to meaning. Every expedition on this channel will build on this foundation.
In one seamless workflow, we move from landscape discovery to object reconstruction to personal stories.
Then, AI deciphered and translated ancient inscriptions, connecting us directly to people from 2 millennia ago.
We started with a vague reference, used AI to scan satellite and LiDAR data, and pinpointed a lost Roman villa. At the site, digital tools reassembled broken pottery into complete virtual models.
Let's recap our digital archaeological journey. We can create photorealistic scenes and even enhance old footage, making history vivid and accessible. The barrier to world-class historical storytelling is gone.
Now AI can generate detailed, historically accurate digital environments from our data. Floor plans, topography, even local flora.
In the past, visualizing a Roman villa meant expensive CGI or static ruins.
This is where generative AI takes over, transforming raw data into immersive narratives. The archaeological toolkit becomes the creative toolkit.
We've gathered data, maps, models, and translated texts, but how do we turn this into a story you can experience?
These details immerse viewers, making the past tangible. Generative AI is democratizing historical world building.
The result is a richly detailed, believable world, once only possible for big studios, now within anyone's reach.
AI generates Roman furniture, fabrics, and more, all grounded in archaeological data.
We can texture 3D models with authentic wear, place them in our digital villa, and populate scenes with period-accurate objects.
AI can instantly storyboard our script, suggesting shots and lighting, letting us experiment and refine our vision.
Generative AI doesn't just build landscapes, it streamlines the entire filmmaking process.
It's informed imagination, data-driven but deeply human. AI gives voice to the voiceless past.
Hearing his words spoken aloud bridges centuries, turning silent text into personal testimony.
We can create a voice that feels authentic to the merchant's time and status.
Modern AI voice synthesis can generate lifelike performances guided by historical context and emotion.
We return to our merchant's letter. We know his words, but what about his voice?
Our virtual villa is ready, but it needs people, the emotional core of any story.
Welcome to a new era of documentary storytelling.
We illuminate the past, making it accessible, human, and unforgettable.
Every episode of Chronicles of the Unseen aims for this rigorous research, brought to life by generative AI.
We're not just reporting history, we're letting you experience it.
This is the synthesis, analytical rigor fused with creative storytelling.
Data points become a living scene, a map becomes a place, a letter becomes a voice.
Into this world, we add soundscapes, sheep, fire, distant voices, historically accurate and immersive.
Now we bring everything together. The AI-generated landscape, the reconstructed villa, the restored vase, and the merchant's voice.
This is not a minor issue or a problem to be brushed aside with a quick disclaimer. It is a profound challenge that demands a new ethical framework specifically designed for this new form of storytelling. We cannot simply use these powerful tools without also building a robust system of accountability and transparency around them. As creators, we have a duty to not only tell compelling stories, but to do so in a way that respects historical truth and empowers our audience to be critical, informed viewers. The power of the tool must be matched by the integrity of the user. Otherwise, we risk doing more harm than good to our collective understanding.
There's also another, more subtle danger lurking within the technology itself. AI models are not objective observers. They learn from the vast datasets of text and images they are trained on. If that training data is full of historical biases, stereotypes, or inaccuracies, which, given the nature of historical records, it often is, the AI can inadvertently amplify and perpetuate those falsehoods. For example, an AI asked to generate an image of a Viking warrior might produce a stereotypical horned helmeted figure, reinforcing a popular myth rather than historical fact. Without careful human oversight, the AI could become a machine for mass-producing our own misconceptions about the past.
It's an absolutely critical question, and it's one that the entire field of documentary filmmaking is grappling with right now. The very foundation of the documentary form is built on a sacred pact of trust between the creator and the audience. The viewer trusts that what they are being shown is a faithful representation of reality. The rise of powerful and accessible generative AI tools poses a potential threat to that trust. If an audience member can no longer confidently tell the difference between an authentic historical photograph and a flawlessly generated AI image, the very concept of historical truth is put at risk. The line between fact and fiction can begin to blur in dangerous ways.
This all sounds absolutely incredible, a true revolution in how we can visualize and connect with history. But it brings us, without question, to the most important and most critical part of our work. It is a responsibility we feel with immense weight, and one we must address head-on from the very beginning. If we are using artificial intelligence to generate photorealistic images of ancient worlds, and if we are using it to synthesize human-like voices for people who lived thousands of years ago, how do you, our audience, know what is real? How can you distinguish between an authentic artifact and our digital reconstruction? This is the central ethical question of our time.
By embedding this protocol into our production process from day one, we aim to build a stronger, more honest, and more resilient relationship with our audience. We see you not as passive consumers of content, but as active, intelligent partners in discovery. Providing this level of transparency is a sign of respect for your critical faculties. It empowers you to engage with our reconstructions on a deeper level, understanding both their power to illuminate and their inherent nature as interpretations. It turns the act of watching into an exercise in informed historical imagination, which is a far more rewarding experience for everyone involved.
This promise is designed to give you, the viewer, complete clarity at all times. You will never be left to wonder or guess about the nature of what you are seeing or hearing on our channel. The first point of our protocol is this: we will label everything. The second point is, we will show our work. And the third, and perhaps most important point is, the human is always in the loop. These three principles work together to create a comprehensive framework for ethical practice. They are designed to be easy to understand and easy for us to implement, ensuring that our commitment to truth remains at the forefront of everything we do.
This protocol is not an afterthought. It is built into the very DNA of this channel. It is a system designed to ensure that transparency is not just a policy, but a core feature of our storytelling. We believe that the best way to combat the potential for misinformation is not to shy away from these tools, but to use them openly and honestly, bringing our audience along with us in the process. This protocol is our way of formalizing that commitment. It consists of a straightforward 3-point promise that we will uphold in every video, for every story, without exception. This is our contract with you.
Which is precisely why we are using our very first episode, not just to showcase the exciting potential of this technology, but to make a clear and public commitment to our audience. We have spent as much time developing our ethical guidelines as we have our technical workflows. We believe that earning and maintaining your trust is the most important expedition we will ever undertake. To that end, we have developed a clear, simple, and non-negotiable set of rules that will govern every piece of content we produce. We are calling it the Chronicles of the Unseen Transparency Protocol. It is our public pledge to you.
Ultimately, this first promise is about maintaining the integrity of the historical record. By clearly delineating between what is historical evidence and what is our interpretation of that evidence, we honor the distinction. It allows us to use these incredible generative tools to fill in the gaps and bring stories to life. But it does so without corrupting the primary sources themselves. It lets us have the best of both worlds, the power of imaginative reconstruction and an unwavering respect for the authenticity of the artifacts and records that form the basis of our work. Your trust begins with our honesty, and our honesty begins with a clear label.
We believe this is a non-negotiable standard for any creator working with generative tools in a non-fiction context. The power of these tools to create photorealistic imagery makes such labeling more important than ever before. In the past, the difference between a historical photo and a hand-drawn illustration was obvious. Today, that line has blurred, and it is the creator's responsibility to redraw it clearly for their audience. We will not hide these labels in the fine print or flash them on the screen for a millisecond. They will be an integral part of our visual language designed to inform, not to distract, ensuring you are always on solid ground.
This principle extends to every element of our production. If we show a three-dimensional model of an artifact, the label will clarify its origin. For instance, AI-assisted 3D reconstruction from pottery fragments. When you hear a voice, the same rule applies. A caption will distinguish between a genuine historical recording and our synthesized voices, stating something like, "Voice synthesized by AI," based on the translated text. This consistent labeling system removes all ambiguity. It acts as a constant, gentle reminder of the nature of the material, allowing the viewer to appreciate the reconstruction for what it is, a powerful interpretation, without ever mistaking it for raw, unmediated fact.
Let's break down exactly what these 3 points mean in practice, starting with the first and most fundamental rule. We will label everything. This is our promise of absolute clarity. At any given moment while you are watching one of our documentaries, you will never have to guess whether what you are looking at is authentic historical material or an AI-assisted reconstruction. We will use clear, simple, and unobtrusive on-screen labels to make this distinction explicit. For example, an actual photograph of an archaeological dig might be labeled Archival Photograph, 1923, while our visualization will be clearly marked as AI-generated reconstruction based on LiDAR data.
This principle ensures that the ultimate responsibility for the final product remains entirely ours. We are the curators, the directors, and the ethical gatekeepers of this process. The AI can suggest possibilities, but the human makes the final creative and factual choices. It is our job to filter out the biases, to correct the inaccuracies, and to ensure that the story we tell is not just visually spectacular, but is also grounded in the most accurate historical understanding available. The human intellect and conscience are, and always will be, the most important components in our digital time machine. Our commitment is to you, and that commitment is guided by our own human hands.
Our third and final promise is perhaps the most important because it governs all the others. The human is always in the loop. This is our pledge that AI is our collaborator, not our replacement. It is a powerful tool, but it is a tool that must be guided by human expertise, discernment, and ethical judgment at every single step. An AI model might be able to generate 1,000 images of a Viking longship, but it is the human historian and researcher who must painstakingly review them, ensuring that the final design is consistent with the archaeological evidence, from the type of wood used to the style of the joinery.
This means if we visualize a Roman villa, our notes will link to the archaeological reports we referenced, explain why we chose certain architectural details, and name the specific AI models we used to generate the landscape. It's about creating a transparent chain of evidence from the primary source to our final visual. This not only builds trust but also serves an educational purpose. It allows curious viewers to dig deeper, to explore the primary sources for themselves, and to better understand how these amazing new tools actually work. It demystifies the process and turns our documentaries into a gateway for further learning and exploration.
Our second promise we will show our work builds directly on the first. It's not enough for us to simply label a scene as an AI reconstruction. We are committed to showing you how we built it. Transparency means pulling back the curtain on our creative and technical process. In the video description of every episode or in supplementary content on our website, we will provide detailed making-of notes. These notes will explain the specific historical data, the academic sources, and the AI techniques we used to arrive at our final reconstruction. We will cite our sources, just as a historian would in a scholarly paper.
These are just two of the many avenues we're eager to explore. Each potential story presents its own unique set of challenges and requires a different combination of our AI tools. One week, we might be in ancient Rome, and the next, we could be in pre-colonial Africa, using AI to trace ancient trade routes based on the distribution of specific types of pottery. The beauty of this project is its sheer breadth. We are not limited to one time period or one geographical location. Our digital time machine can take us anywhere that data and human curiosity can lead us, and we are just getting started on this grand adventure.
Another idea that we are incredibly passionate about involves the story of a lost polar explorer from the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. We have access to a digital copy of his diary, which was recovered from the ice, but is severely damaged by water and fading. Our expedition will be to use AI text restoration tools to recover the lost words from the damaged pages, piecing together his final, harrowing days. We will then use the restored text as the script to generate a visualization of his journey, showing the immense, beautiful, and terrifying landscapes he witnessed, creating a tribute to a story of human courage that was almost lost forever.
And we have so many expeditions already charted on our map. The list of potential projects is exhilarating, and it grows longer every single day as we consider the possibilities. For instance, we are currently deep in the planning stages for an episode where we attempt to reconstruct a full-size Viking longship, not just from archaeological fragments, but from the intricate diagrams and construction notes found in historical Norse sagas. We want to use AI to translate these often poetic descriptions into a precise, seaworthy three-dimensional model, and then visualize the incredible journey these ships undertook across the treacherous North Atlantic, a feat of navigation and endurance that is hard to comprehend.
So, that is our mission laid bare. It is a mission to harness these powerful and revolutionary new tools, to point them toward the silent corners of our past, and to unlock the stories that have been waiting patiently for us to find them. We are committed to doing this responsibly, ethically, and with a spirit of open discovery, with you, our audience, by our side for every step of the journey. We have laid out our toolkit and our ethical protocol, but the most exciting part is what lies ahead, the expeditions themselves. The map of history is vast, and the number of unseen stories is nearly infinite. We are standing at the shoreline of a great, unexplored ocean of history, and we are ready to set sail.
This collaborative approach is at the very heart of our mission. History belongs to all of us, and so the process of rediscovering it should be a shared one. By inviting you to participate in this way, we are opening the doors to a more democratic and inclusive form of historical storytelling. Your local knowledge, your unique cultural heritage, and your personal curiosity are invaluable resources. You might hold the key to an incredible story that is just waiting to be told. So please do not be shy. Share your passion and your ideas with us and with this growing community.
Your ideas, your suggestions, and your questions will do more than just provide us with inspiration. They will actively help to shape the future direction of this channel. We see the comments section not just as a place for feedback, but as a digital brainstorming session, a global forum for historical inquiry. We will be reading your suggestions carefully, researching the possibilities, and the best and most feasible ideas will become the basis for future episodes of Chronicles of the Unseen. You have the power to point our digital time machine toward a new and fascinating destination that we might never have considered on our own.
This is why we are making a sincere appeal directly to you. We are genuinely and deeply curious. What are the historical mysteries that you have always wanted to see solved or visualized? What forgotten civilization, lost city, or enigmatic historical figure do you believe deserves to have their story told using these incredible new tools? Is there a faded manuscript in a local archive you know of that could be brought to life? Is there an ancient battle whose tactics have always been confusing and could be clarified with a three-dimensional visualization? We want you to tell us. We want you to let us know in the comments section below this video.
But this is the crucial point we want to make as we conclude our first episode. This is not intended to be just our expedition. We genuinely and passionately want it to be yours too. We have our own ideas and our own historical passions, but we are acutely aware that we are just two voices among a global community of curious minds. The stories that resonate with us might be different from the ones that have captivated you for years. We believe that the most exciting discoveries will come from a collective curiosity, from a dialogue between us as creators and you as our fellow explorers, our audience, and our collaborators in this grand project. And thanks to you, Dr. Rivera, for helping us lay out this vision. It has been a pleasure. To our audience, thank you for your time and your curiosity. We cannot wait to see what we will discover together.
We are standing at the beginning of a new golden age of discovery. For centuries, the past has been telling us its stories through fragments of evidence, but our ability to listen has been limited. We could only hear the faintest whispers. Now, technology has given us a hearing aid, a powerful amplifier that is allowing us to finally tune in to the rich, complex, and deeply human symphony of our shared history. The past has so many more stories to tell, and we believe we are finally learning how to truly listen to them all. Thank you so much for joining us on this inaugural voyage.
So please, if this mission excites you, if this new way of seeing the past sparks your imagination, we ask you to subscribe to Chronicles of the Unseen. By subscribing, you are not just signing up for notifications, you are joining our expeditionary team. And be sure to hit that notification bell because our first full investigation is already in the works, and you will not want to miss where we are heading first. Your support is the fuel that will power this digital time machine and allow us to continue pushing the boundaries of what is possible in historical storytelling for years to come.
The possibilities are truly endless, and they span the entire spectrum of human experience. Imagine using AI to analyze the vast network of letters written during the 18th century Enlightenment, creating a social network graph that visualizes how ideas flowed between philosophers like Voltaire and Rousseau across Europe. We could watch the birth of modernity spread like a current from mind to mind, or we could take the tactical descriptions from Sun Tzu's The Art of War and generate dynamic three-dimensional battle simulations to understand these ancient strategies in a completely new and intuitive way. Every corner of history is ripe for this kind of exploration.
As we bring this inaugural episode to a close, it feels less like an ending and more like a true beginning. We have journeyed together through the conceptual landscape of this new frontier, moving from the poetic vision of a digital time machine to the practical, tangible tools that make it a reality. We've opened our digital toolkit to show you how technologies like LiDAR, photogrammetry, and AI-driven text recognition are not science fiction, but are right now allowing us to see the unseen and hear the unheard. We have ventured from the vast, satellite's eye view of a lost landscape down to the intimate, translated words of a single individual who lived 2 millennia ago, collapsing the immense distance of time with every step of the process. This journey so far has been about laying a foundation, not just of technology but of trust. We have explored how the same generative AI that allows us to visualize a Roman villa or synthesize a merchant's voice also carries with it a profound ethical weight. Our transparency protocol is our solemn promise to you, our fellow explorers, that we will navigate this new territory with integrity, clarity, and an unwavering commitment to the truth. By labeling our reconstructions, showing our work, and ensuring the human expert is always the final arbiter of fact, we aim to build a community grounded in intellectual honesty and shared respect for the historical record, ensuring our creations illuminate the past rather than obscure it. What we have outlined today is more than just a new method for making documentaries. It is a fundamentally new perspective on our relationship with history itself. For generations, we have been accustomed to viewing the past through a keyhole, catching fleeting glimpses through the fragments that time has chosen to leave behind. We have become experts at interpreting silence and masters of the educated guess. Now artificial intelligence is handing us the key to unlock the door. It is allowing us to step through the threshold and see the room in its entirety, to reconstruct the context, and to reanimate the human stories that were once trapped within the cold data of archaeological reports and academic papers. This shift in perspective is as significant as the invention of the microscope or the telescope. Just as those instruments opened up previously invisible worlds, both infinitesimally small and incomprehensibly large, AI is opening up the previously inaccessible world of the deep past. It provides a sensory bridge, translating abstract information into immersive experiences that we can see, hear, and feel. It allows us to move beyond simply knowing that a civilization existed and to begin to understand what it might have felt like to live within it. This is the dawn of a new, more empathetic and more tangible connection to the billions of human lives that have come before our own. The responsibilities that lie ahead are as vast as the opportunities. As we embark on our future expeditions, whether to the frozen wastes of the Antarctic or the bustling markets of ancient Mesopotamia, our guiding principle will remain the same: to serve the story. The technology, as dazzling as it may be, is always a means to an end. That end is a deeper, more nuanced, and more human understanding of our collective past. It is a quest to find the individual within the epic, the personal struggle within the great historical trend, and the moment of quiet reflection within the grand, sweeping narrative of civilizations rising and falling. We are not just building digital replicas, we are searching for the ghost in the machine. This quest is not something we can or wish to undertake alone. Our invitation to you to join this expedition is the most vital component of this entire endeavor. Your curiosity will be our compass, your questions our guide, and your passion for history the fuel that drives us forward. The future of Chronicles of the Unseen will be co-created, shaped by the mysteries you want to solve and the stories you believe must be told. We see this channel as a meeting place, a digital campfire, around which a global community can gather to share in the wonder of rediscovering our shared inheritance. The journey is made meaningful, not just by the destination, but by the companions we travel with. In the end, this is all part of the enduring human quest for understanding. Why do we look to the past? We do it to understand ourselves, to see the long, winding path that led to our present moment. We study history to learn from its triumphs and its tragedies, to find inspiration in its art, and to feel a sense of connection to the great chain of humanity. The tools may change, evolving from the archaeologist's trowel to the historian's quill to the AI's algorithm, but the fundamental human need to know where we come from remains constant. It is a deep-seated desire to hold a mirror up to our ancestors and see a reflection of ourselves. We stand on the brink of an era where that mirror is becoming clearer than ever before. The smudges of time are being wiped away, and the faded images are coming into sharper focus. The wonder of this moment is not just in the power of the technology, but in the timeless beauty of the stories it allows us to tell. Thank you for joining us at the very beginning of this journey. The past is calling, with more clarity and richness than we ever thought possible. And together, we are finally learning how to answer. We cannot wait to see what we will discover.